Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating in my 4 3/4 by 8 inch dylusions journal, creating this lovely floral piece using a variety of supplies, as you can see here, some embellishments, some old music pages, and stickers from 7 Dot Studios. The flowers are just a napkin that I got at, I believe, Tuesday morning. So I will be applying all of my papers using matte medium. I go back and forth between Liquitex and golden matte medium, kind of depending on what I find on sale, because we do go through it fairly quickly. So here I'm just going to adhere all of these music pages, just kind of randomly across both of the pages. I do have a bit of trouble at the end with the last piece because I ran out of this actual paper, and so the one that I chose didn't match, but in the end it creates a really cool effect, which I really ended up liking. These papers are the originals. They're very fragile because I believe that they're from the late 1800s. They were given to me by my backdoor neighbor, and I love them. I am trying to go through all of my old book pages and such and going ahead and scanning them so that I'm not actually using the originals. Because what if the apocalypse happens or something and I still want an art journal and I don't have any more papers? So kind of a silly thought, but that's kind of what I think is I don't want to run out. What if I can never get any more? So they are very fun to use. And I don't use a lot of music pages for this reason, because I haven't scanned any of them and they're all old. So I'm going to be hoping to do that here in the coming weeks. And so here I'm just completing the 2-page spread, adhering all those papers. And there's the one that was different, but in the end, in a close-up, you'll see that it created quite a cool effect. And I do apologize. I must have shut my camera off for drying and forgot to turn it back on. And basically what I did is I just took a napkin and I stripped it down to the 1 ply of the print and adhered it, cut a fussy cut around the flower, and then adhered it with matte medium to my pages there. And here I'm just going to come in with some gesso to push back some of that that script or those words and music notes in the back. I didn't want it to be completely gone, but it definitely did need to be pushed back a little bit. And I love how the music notes show through the flowers, and that's because the napkin is transparent. And I am using TCW, the Crafters Workshop modeling paste. It's light and fluffy modeling paste, and I really like it for art journaling because it dries fast and it's very light. It's not heavy in the journal. So, and here I'm using this, it looks like a honeycomb stencil. I believe this is also a TCW stencil. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply that in the upper right-hand corner of the right side of the journal spread. And I'll also be applying it on the left bottom side, and then just a tad bit in the corner of the right page. And you can see that there's some yellow that transferred onto the paper, and that's because I had used this stencil using Lindy's Magicals in a prior project, and apparently there was still some residue on the stencil because the Lindy's sprays are a water medium, so they must have stuck to that and then reactivated on top of the matte medium. But there you can see the beautiful texture that it creates. And I actually wanted to use the yellow anyway, so it worked out just fine. So here I'm gonna spritz my page there with some water, and then use the Lindy's Stamp Gang. This is the Yellow Rose of Texas. And I didn't cut any of this part out because I wanted you to be able to see what the process actually looks like, kind of not in real time, but not cut and spliced, as I often end up having to do with my videos because they can be fairly long. Each of my art journal page spreads usually takes me probably an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half in real time. And I do need to cut that down to, I try to get it under 30 minutes. And so I do go back and forth between this yellow, the yellow rose of Texas, as well as I use a peony scarlet red and the Bells of Ireland green, all Lindy Stamp Gang sprays. The sprays bottles do get clogged up fairly easily, and that's because of the ink or the powder inside that activates the spray. And so that's why often you'll see me just using the little tip of the sprayer to put the color where I want it to go. And so I do come back and forth with this. And I love how it settles into the grooves around that texture. And especially in this piece, it was just really subtle. I don't really do very well with white space. I'm not sure why, but I do come in and fill in some of that white space with some color. And there's just a close-up of that texture. It's just beautiful. And so now I'm going to come in with the green. And I believe that this is the Bells of Ireland green. I actually put all the supplies away because I had done this project a few weeks ago, and I lost the Post-it note that I wrote all my supplies down on. So I'm pretty sure that that's the color, but any green would do. It's not that important what shade. So as you can see here, I'm just adding that green there in that those textured parts. And I really liked how it mixed with the yellow. I lost a lot of the yellow in the end, so I do come back and put a lot more yellow because I wanted that to be well balanced against the peony scarlet red, which is basically the color of the roses. So that worked out really well as well. And so here you can see that by spritzing the water on the page first, it allows the spray the color to spread and run along those water lines as well as along the textured edges there. It's just a beautiful effect. And these napkins, you can pick up napkins fairly inexpensively at Tuesday Morning. I've also found some really beautiful ones at the Dollar Tree, which is really nice. I end up having way more napkins than I could possibly use from Tuesday Morning because there's so many in the package. But and here I'm just coming in with that green again, not really wanting that much white space left on the spread. So I do come in just to give it a little bit of a color tint, not anything too overwhelming. And also want to let you know that I do dry between colors. So I don't show the drying time, but I did dry after I used the yellow rose of Texas and then before I used the green. And then I'm going to be drying here again before I add the peony red color. So yeah, and you're going to see here in a moment that I was trying to use a black Lindy spray. It's Banshee Black. And it was not what I wanted. It actually is more purple than black. And so you can see as I opened the bottle, I got some spots on my page, which is not really a big deal, but I definitely didn't want that purple hue to the project. So I did kind of dab that up as much as I could. And then I'll come back in with the peony. I'm not sure what happened there, but so there I'm just going to spray the background again. And there's the peony scarlet red. The Lindy sprays are really nice. They last forever, except the ones that you really like. I tend to go through the yellow rose of Texas very quickly. But they're very messy to work with. So I don't tend to use them as a spray because they will literally get in everything on your craft table. But they're beautiful. And they do have a little bit of a sparkle to them or a sheen, which is really nice for some projects. I don't like that all the time, but usually it works out just fine. And so here I'm just applying it to the right-hand side as well. And I just love how it travels again along those texture lines. Just creates a lot of a three-dimensional look. And it's just really beautiful. And in a moment here, you're going to see me doing the same thing with that red, applying it to some of that white space. I need to learn to deal with white space. I find that I don't really like white space in my life as a rule at all, whether that's in art or in my daily life. I tend to be a very busy person. I'm learning to sit and just be with myself, be with my thoughts, be with my feelings. And this particular piece, oh, and there's just a close-up. I apologize for that. This piece was still born out of a struggling place that I'm having in relationship. And so oftentimes what helps us move through those places is kind of examining what the truth is about a situation, what we own about a situation and what we don't have to own. And so this is part of my process, my healing process, my process of separating out the truth from the lies, as well as what is my responsibility and what is not. And so it's not a very fun place to be, but I'm really grateful for art because it allows me a place to escape into creating in a way that tells what my heart is feeling. And so the stickers that I chose to use as my sentiment, as you'll see here in a little bit, are imagine the possibilities, drop every fear, and forgotten treasures. And that just kind of, they don't necessarily go together, but they were things that spoke to me as I was looking through what kinds of words I could use on the pages. And they ended up fitting perfectly. And those are actually from 7 Dot Studios. I believe that they're out of business. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if their product is available anywhere else. I've had these stickers for quite some time. So here I'm coming back in with that Yellow Rose of Texas because I really wanted that pop of yellow and that pop of sunshine. This project was deep in that it took my thoughts and my feelings into a deep place, but it was also a very freeing, energizing piece. And so I really liked the yellow accents because yellow is my favorite color and it does make me smile. And so I tend to go to it quite a bit. And so here I'm just coming back in on the left-hand page to add a little bit more of that Yellow Rose of Texas. I actually already need to order some more. I just purchased some. That's how much I use it. I don't record everything that I create. And so I do use this color quite a lot. And as you can see, it's creating a really sunny effect just here and there in those lighter places on the spread, which I really liked. And then I love that if you look in the lower right-hand corner of the right page, it has the copyright year for this music book, which I thought was really cool. I never looked it up to see what that Roman numeral actually means, but I have fun thinking and knowing that it's very old, and I like old things. I like to think about the history of those things and the hands that held them and the things that people were doing with them. And here I'm just adhering a butterfly. I believe that this butterfly is just printable from Marami Small Art. She is a mixed media artist on YouTube, and she has a Facebook group where people can share their creations, and they offered these printables for personal use on in their group. And so that's where I got the butterfly. And I do kind of get them mixed up between what Sean Petit offers and what I get from Marami Small Art, working on organizing those things a little bit better so I can give you accurate information. And here's just some ephemera from my stash. And I just, I liked the vintage look of them, and those hearts on that one are exactly the same color as the red in those roses. So it was really a great accent. And so you're going to see me adhering those in 3 different places on the spread. And you do want to make sure that everything is nice and dry, because the gel medium just will not, or the matte medium will not adhere those items very well if it's wet. And I actually want to back up here a second. I did use heavy gel because the paper was thicker. And here's the sentiments that I chose. And again, these are from 7 Dot Studio. And I'm just randomly placing them. I really wasn't giving a lot of thought to it. There is a logic to it in that you want to spread out those elements across your project or pages so that the whole spread is balanced. I really like doing double spreads, but sometimes I will just do a single, especially if it's in one of my larger journals. And here's that sentiment: drop every fear. Fear is a very powerful thing, and fear is a liar. And if we allow ourselves to be caught up in our fears, we actually get hindered from being able to accept the truth, to receive goodness, to receive love, to feel hope, to make change, all of those kinds of things. So that's kind of the place that I was in when I created this. And again, just working through changing in a relationship in a way that's going to be beneficial to both parties. So, and there's just a close-up of those sentiments. And here I'm going to come in with my General's charcoal pencil and do my shading. And I had no success in shading this butterfly. It was really frustrating. I switched over to my Inktense pencil in the color Bark and used my water brush, but I still couldn't get a good coverage, and I'm not sure what that was about, but I finally just kind of let it go and finished shading around the other elements on the pages and just didn't worry too much about the butterfly. You can see I'm trying to add it here, but for whatever reason, it was not showing up. And it could be that I just wasn't using enough, but it was a very freeing project, and I didn't want to get stuck on something that I really that was beginning to frustrate me. So I just kind of said, it's okay the way it is. So, but that's me attempting to use the Inktense pencils. They are awesome for mixed media because once they are applied and they dry, they are permanent. They're actually in ink. And I have them in stick form, and I also have them in pencil form. They're really fun to use. And Derwent is just an excellent product all around, so you really can't go wrong choosing something from Derwent. Whether it's the sketching pencils, watercolor pencils, and those kinds of things. So, and here I'm coming back in with the charcoal pencil and shading around my my stickers there, my sentiments, and around the edges of my 2 pages. I really like the dark frame, and I also did go around those other bits, those square little cards, and it was a perfect frame for finalizing this this journal spread. And there I had just a little bit more than I wanted. I hope that if you haven't already liked and subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would really love it if you would join me here. I'm still getting up and running on my YouTube channel and hoping to do more and more sharing and tutorials. I do tend to create in a more inspirational way. I don't really do well with creating for the sake of creating. So often my projects have a story and they have a depth of meaning to them. So if you haven't already subscribed, I would really appreciate it. It helps YouTube to know that people like the content that I'm creating, and it will come up in searches and it will come up as recommended videos for like-minded crafters. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye-bye.